Ray Dalio warns of impending US-China war and global fallout. Hey there, geopolitics enthusiasts! Are you ready for some shocking news? Renowned China investor and billionaire Ray Dalio just warned that the US and China are on the brink of war and that the global fallout could be disastrous. In this video, we'll dive into the details of Dalio's message and explore the implications and consequences of a potential US-China conflict. But before we begin, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. And if you're watching this on YouTube, turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our latest content on geopolitics. Now let's dive in the video. According to Dalio, both the US and China are beyond the ability to talk, and the risk of conflict escalating is high. The two giants are wrestling with each other 6 inches from the edge of a cliff, and their actions threaten to drag the rest of the world down with them. The billionaire investor's grim message was conveyed in a memo he published on LinkedIn after recently meeting with policymakers, Chinese citizens, and China experts from around the world. Dalio is particularly concerned about several immediate flashpoints that could trigger a full-blown conflict between the US and China. These include quarrels over Taiwan, confrontations between American and Chinese aircraft and ships, the war in Ukraine, and threats of economic sanctions. While both countries know they need to deconflict, Dalio believes that the unavoidable trajectory is toward war. Whenever they interact with each other, discussions about important things have become exchanges of accusations that worsen relations rather than help them. Dalio believes that the 2024 US election will also worsen tensions. Politicians seeking re-election will likely try to keep pushing limits with Beijing to appeal to anti-China sentiment from voters. The hawkish political influences in the United States will exert more pressure on the relationship over the next 18 months because of the emergence of the 2024 election season. That will be a very risky period because China and the US are already on the brink of war. An additional risk is that US leadership is fragmented in how it projects anti-China stances. Dalio cited then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's August visit to Taiwan, which Chinese leader Xi Jinping had personally asked President Joe Biden to block. But Biden said he had no control over Pelosi's foreign diplomacy. This shows that the US leadership is not aligned, which could further exacerbate tensions with China. As both powers look to protect their sources of essential technologies and minerals, they're making countries around the world choose sides, Dalio warns further. He cited the US seeking to stop South Korean chip producers from increasing sales to China if Beijing sanctions the Idaho-based Micron technology. Dalio also pointed to Saudi Arabia, traditionally a US ally, recently engaging in new deals with China and Russia, and French President Emmanuel Macron criticizing Washington for provoking China. Dalio believes that the US and China are like two giants wrestling with each other 6 inches from the edge of a cliff and threatening to pull others into this dangerous fight. All things considered, he thinks that the greater provocations will most likely come from the American side, which could cause a tit for tat crossing of the line. However, he doesn't believe those grievances will push China to declare war soon, or even in the next 3 years. So what are the implications and consequences of a potential US-China war? Well, for starters, it could have a devastating impact on the global economy. The US and China are the two biggest economies in the world, and a war between them would likely disrupt global supply chains and cause a worldwide recession. It could also lead to a humanitarian crisis, as the war could involve the use of nuclear weapons and result in countless civilian casualties. Now, as you might imagine, this warning from one of the most successful investors in the world is quite alarming. And it's not just about the possibility of a war between two superpowers, but the global fallout that could result from it. Dalio points out that the US and China are the two largest economies in the world, and a war between them would have severe consequences for the global economy. It could lead to a global recession with businesses suffering and people losing their jobs. It could also result in a refugee crisis, as people flee the conflict zones. Moreover, the geopolitical balance of power could shift dramatically. The US has been the dominant superpower for decades, but a war with China could change that. China has been rapidly growing its military and economic power, and a war with the US could give it the opportunity to surpass America as the dominant global superpower. So, what does this mean for you and me? Well, for starters, it means that we need to pay attention to what's going on in the world. We can't afford to ignore the tensions between the US and China or dismiss them as mere political posturing. We also need to think about what we can do to prevent a war between these two superpowers. As Dalio suggests, we need to work towards de-escalating tensions and finding ways to reduce the probability of conflict. This could involve pressuring our political leaders to engage in more diplomacy or supporting organizations that work towards promoting peace and understanding between nations. At the end of the day, we all have a stake in this. A war between the US and China would have far-reaching consequences that would affect all of us. So, let's do our part to prevent it from happening. Now, I'd like to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this issue? Do you think a war between the US and China is inevitable? Or do you think there's still hope for diplomacy? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more geopolitics content. Thank you for watching.